Hello everyone and welcome back. In our last video, we deployed our first application to Kubernetes. It was powerful, but it was also a manual process. Today we are going to change that. We are going to automate the entire workflow from a single code change to a running application. This is a core concept in DevOps and we'll be doing it using GitHub Actions. Let's be honest, manual deployments are a pain. Every time you want to change your application, you have to build the image and run a bunch of commands. It's time consuming, easy to make a mistake, and not repeatable. This is why we need automation. The solution is a practice called CI/CD. CI is the process of automatically building and testing your code every time a code is changed, and CD then automatically prepares your application for deployment. Together, they create a reliable and fast delivery process. Our application we are using for this pipeline, we are using GitHub Actions. It's built right into the GitHub, where many of us already store our code. All you need is a simple YAML file to define your pipeline, and the GitHub provides the virtual machines, or we can say runners, to execute your jobs. It's an accessible and powerful way to get started with CI/CD. To create a pipeline, we write a workflow file in YAML. It has a simple structure. First, you give your workflow a name. This tells GitHub when to run the workflow. The real work happens in the jobs section, where you define a job and its step. Today we will build simple yet powerful pipeline. Our pipeline will be triggered every time we push code to the main branch. The pipeline will then build a Docker image, run some tests, and finally it will perform a simulated deployment. This simulation will get you ready for your next video, where we will do a real deployment to a Kubernetes cluster. Before the demo, there are two key concepts to remember. The trigger is simply the event that starts your pipeline, like pushing code to GitHub, and the runner is the virtual machine where your code will be executed. All right, enough theory now. The best way to learn best way to learn this is by doing it. I'll switch to my GitHub now, and we will create a workflow file. We will commit and push the changes, and then we will jump over to the GitHub Actions to see our pipeline run for the very first time. Let's go. All right, enough with the slides. Let's go ahead and build our very first CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions. For this demo, we are going to do everything directly on this GitHub web interface, which means we don't need any local setup. Before we begin, you will need the code for a simple application from the last video in a GitHub repository. If you have deleted your previous project, no worries. You can just create a new empty Node.js project or use any simple application you have and push it to a new GitHub repository. The first thing you want to do is to navigate to your project's repository on GitHub. As you can see, I have a simple Node.js application here. Now we are ready to build our pipeline. GitHub Actions workflows are defined in YAML files and they must live in a specific directory within your project. This directory is .github/workflows. Let's create it now and directly in the browser. So in your repository, click the Add File button and click on Create New File. In the file name field, type .github/workflow/ci.yaml. And GitHub is smart enough to create both the directories. As you can see, I just type the slash and then it creates this directory. Perfect. Now for the fun part, we will write the code for our pipeline. I will paste the code in and then we will walk through it by line. Perfect. So as you can see, this file is a declarative blueprint. It gives our pipeline a name, tells it to trigger every time a push happens to the main branch, and defines a single job to run on virtual machines provided by the GitHub. The step simply checks our code and then runs some commands to install dependencies and simulate our workflow. Now, the most exciting part, we are going to commit this new file. Committing this file on the main branch will immediately trigger an entire pipeline. We don't have to do anything else manually. Okay, so I will click on commit changes, and this is the commit message is already there. You can change it to something like add CI/CD workflow with GitHub Actions, or you can leave it as it is also. Click on commit changes after that. Perfect. Let's go to our repository on GitHub and then look at the top, and you should see a new tab called Actions now. Let's click on it, and there it is. You can see our workflow, my first CI/CD pipeline running automatically because of our last commit. Let's click on it and see the live steps. On the left, you can see our job, build and test. If we click on it, and we can see each steps in real time. You can see the check marks as each steps complete successfully. This is the magic of CI/CD. We have just automated our entire process from a single commit on GitHub. Now, just to show the power of CI, let's simulate a failure. Instead of modifying our JavaScript file, we are going to make a simple guaranteed change to our workflow file itself. This is often you had see a build fail in the real world when a specific test or build command fails. Okay, so navigate to the GitHub workflows and then open the ci.yaml file. Click on the pencil icon to edit it. Okay, so go to the last run step and change the command from the simulating a deployment to false. So I will just remove this echo and type false here. Great. So I will now commit it and I will give it a name, something like adding a deliberate failure to demonstrate a failing build. I will commit the changes. Okay, so I've committed the code and a new workflow has already been triggered. Let's go back to actions and click on this run, click on build and test. Perfect. So as you can see, it's running and it failed. Great. If we click on this job and then we can see this which step failed and why it is failed. And there you have it. So in just a few minutes, we built a fully automated CI/CD pipeline. We saw how it can be used to run checks and prepare our code for deployment. And we even saw how it helps us catch errors early. But as you saw, our final step was just a simulation. It was not actually deploying to a cluster. So in a real world DevOps workflow, this is where we would automatically deploy our application to a live server. So to recap, now you know what CI/CD is and why it is so important in DevOps and how to build a simple pipeline. This is a massive step forward. But the most exciting part is what's next. In our next video, we are going to take this pipeline to a next level. We will show you how to connect your GitHub Actions pipeline to a real cluster on AWS and automate your entire workflow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.